Welcome back to the cockpit of the F-18 Hornet. We're continuing to work on our flight school campaign, the quality control and all of that stuff for it. We are on the air-to-air practice exam, which is a carbon copy of the actual exam itself. The exam that you'll actually be doing is the same flight, it just doesn't have any of the reminders and stuff from the instructor. So we'll just go through this once, and then we'll assume that if this works, the exam works, and then that's all we're going to have for the air-to-air portion. And then we'll be ready to move on to the carrier operations part. So let's hop into this lesson. As always, we're going to have to listen in real time to all of the instructions just to make sure that they make sense and that I don't need to make any changes. And if we have to redo it, then we'll fast forward through some things. So I've also turned off the camera because A, it gets in the way of you being able to see things on the screen, and B, with my VR headset on that I've been trying to do a little bit more of, even though my hardware doesn't necessarily support it. But with my VR headset on, you can't really see my face anyway, so there's no point in having a camera. So here we go. Hop in. Let's see what happens.
We're almost to the end of the air-to-air block. All that's left is the exam, so we're going to practice that today. The situation for the exam is that there is a flight of Su-25 Frogfoot attack aircraft inbound to the airfield with the intent to bomb the runway. That flight is being preceded by a single MiG-29 with the intent of establishing air superiority prior to the attack by the Frogfoots. Your mission is to first take out the MiG, preferably in BVR combat, then utilize your TWS radar capability to down the Frogfoots before they get to the airfield. Get yourself in the air and on a heading of 290. Press IP once you're established on heading and climbing to altitude.
And we'll get ourselves into air mode. Go ahead and get our weapons set up for a radar here. I do believe that I'm probably going to have to go back and redo the radar lesson to make it clear that you can actually set specific settings for each of your weapons, because I don't believe I made that clear during that particular block of stuff. But for now, we'll leave it and get into our EW. We'll get over into the air. As always, I'm going to remind you that I do cheat my takeoffs for these quality control things here because it takes a long time to go through the taxi process, and especially if we end up needing to do multiple iterations of this, I don't want to have to go through I want to save the time by not having to go through this every time. So this is not how you take off, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Don't take off this way. It's not the way you're supposed to do it. Alright, so we got that. Cells on autopilot. We will fast forward oh, hold on. Sometimes I forget to pull back on the throttle and get out of afterburner and waste a bunch of fuel. Then we'll get ourselves on heading, and let's start listening to the guys. Now, so part of the reason why we listen to the entire thing, it's also for timing, to make sure that by the time he's done talking, we're ready to start, hopefully ready to start getting into the whatever is going on.
Fence in. There isn't much to walk you through for this, so here is a list of reminders to help you with the MiG. High speed and altitude increase the range of your missiles. For single targets, RWS provides a more solid lock. Don't forget to crank to force the enemy's missiles to work harder. Wait for the probability of kill circle to get big, then swing around and put your steering dot inside it to fire. 20 miles is a good firing range to provide a balance between a good probability of kill and staying outside your enemy's no escape range. Don't forget to assume your enemy has fired on you and defend by diving down into thicker air, going cold, and using your countermeasures.
Okay, so it seems like this one is going to be relatively simple. As with every other mission that we do, whether I succeed at this or not, the triggers are the same. As long as you damage the aircraft or whatever it is that your target is supposed to be, that will flag the objective as having been complete. So even if I don't necessarily do it well this first time, or even if I don't do it well at all this time, most of the quality control that we try to do for this is just making sure that the narrations make sense and that the timing of everything works. But this particular one doesn't really have much of that. So for the purposes of content creation, we'll go ahead and go through and try this one out just so you guys can see what the mission is going to look like. I am not an experienced DCS pilot at all, nor am I particularly proficient in the Hornet. One of the reasons I am creating this flight school campaign is as much to teach myself as it is to help other people learn. They say one of the best ways to learn is by teaching, so that's what this is all about. Let's see. We have our data link all established. We have a Hawkeye in the air, so ideally, or we have whatever AWACS we have in the air. So ideally, we should be able to start seeing something pretty soon. But let's bring up the F10 menu and see where everything is, because unfortunately, I don't think I have the ability to turn certain things off. So yeah, I think for the most part, we probably need to move these guys forward because, I mean, how far away are these guys? These guys are probably still like they're like 200 miles out. So we're actually going to go ahead, and as much as I don't want to have to quit and go and leave and go back out and everything, we really do need to move everything much closer, because that's a long way to expect somebody to go through and do a thing. So let's go ahead. I'm going to leave those where they are, but we're going to move these guys much closer. I'm going to say I'd like everything to be within, say, 100 miles or so. Yeah, so I think inside this EH block here is probably pretty reasonable. And then we'll move our Frogfoots, somewhat behind. Say, how many miles is that? We'll move those. I want to give time to fight. I want to give time to fight this fighter before you have to worry about these guys. And then we'll give these guys their AWACS a little closer. Give these guys their AWACS a little closer. And yeah, so now we are within, as long as we're within like 150 miles, that's probably good. And these guys are pretty close to 150 miles. So yeah, so we'll save this. And then I have to remember to fix it on the other mission. Hopefully I'll remember to do that. But let's try this one more time. And then, we'll go ahead and fast forward past most of the... there's no real narrations to really pay attention to. So we'll fast forward past the instructions part. All right. We'll fast forward past the instructions part. Get ourselves into the air here.
We're almost to the end of the air-to-air block. All that's left is the exam, so we're going to practice that today. The situation for the exam is that there is a flight of Su-25 Frogfoot attack aircraft inbound to the airfield with the intent to bomb the runway. That flight is being preceded by a single MiG-29 with the intent of establishing air superiority prior to the attack by the Frogfoots. Your mission is to first take out the MiG, preferably in BVR combat, then utilize your TWS radar capability to down the Frogfoots before they get to the airfield. Get yourself in the air and on a heading of 290. Press IP once you're established on heading and climbing to altitude.
6-bar scan for the Amaranth, or for the Sidewinder. Medium interlead set. AMRAM 4-bar scan. I'm taking these settings from a video I watched that was, supposed to help you with radar settings and things like that to help you find things better. Switch over to TWS, and then for this, we're going to turn on our auto-identify for our friend or foe stuff. Data link on, and IFF should all be on. Okay, we'll press the IP button to get him to start talking. We're already all fenced in. With our sensor on, with our RWR on, get the RWR set
high speed and altitude increase the...
And then, yeah. So ideally, we're going to continue to climb so we can get pretty decent missile coverage. We'll pop this out to 80 miles. Already starting to see something on the radar there. We're getting something on the radar, but we're still a little far out. So we'll turn off our heading select so that we can actually maneuver in relation to our guy here. We're going to start afterburning to build up some speed. So let's see, we have 6 AMRAAMs available to us. Watching the... I don't see... Well, we're still really far away, but yeah, we're going to be watching for the range indicator to tell us that we're within range to actually do something. So we can see the MiG-29 and his AWACS over there. You can see that's over here. The 29's here, the 50 indicates an AWACS. He's really low, it looks like. His altitude is like Angel 6. Which isn't necessarily realistic, but I am trying to balance these lessons to make it easy for you to complete them. The idea is to teach you the concepts, not necessarily prove that you're super capable of doing them. So, the enemies are all on relatively easy mode, and they don't necessarily fly in a way that's going to make them difficult to kill. So we're going to hang out up here at 30,000 feet, wait for that range indicator to tell us that we're good, then we'll point down at him and pop an AMRAAM at him. I do not see the Frogfoots over here though yet. I mean, we do only have it at 40-mile range though. So. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and start pointing down at this guy. Should be well. I mean, we're just within the range. I'm gonna push it up to closer to 10 miles, just to make sure that. Well, I mean, I guess I can afford to shoot one off of this guy. I don't remember how many Frogfoots there's supposed to be. But ideally, within 20 miles, I mean, that's not necessarily the no escape zone, but fire off another one. Just on the off chance that we miss. I want to make sure we hit him. Slow down. We fired that, yeah, let's
Splash 1. Switch over to TWS mode and get those Frogfoots dealt with. As reminders, you can lock up more than one target at a time. Undesignate cycles between targets. You can clear targets with the reset button on the MDI. Don't crank before firing. You want the steering duct aligned for all missiles. After missiles are away, crank to keep your radar tracking as long as possible. Once the missiles go pit bull, or you're engaged by the enemy, you can turn away, cold, and defend with the assumption there are missiles inbound. If you run out of 9Xs, close to visual range and use your sidewinders and gun to take down any remaining aircraft. All aircraft must be destroyed to pass the test.
So all aircraft must be damaged to pass the test. I say destroyed, but I don't really want to screw people over by making it to where, you know, if you get unlucky and for whatever reason the aircraft doesn't actually die, you know, you don't want that to be an impediment to actually doing it. As long as you're able to shoot your missiles off and you do it in a way that makes it where you get a hit, that's all I'm really concerned about. So we still have 4 AMRAAMs left, and we also have a couple of 9Xs available in case we're not able to get the job done with the AMRAAM. So we'll close our distance here. I believe that countdown there is giving us a countdown to when we'll be within firing range of our enemy. But not really. I'm trying to provide a certain level of detail that's not overwhelming. I want to give enough information in the tutorials to make it to where people can, you know, be semi-effective. There is no replacement for getting out there, doing it, reading the manual. watching videos and, you know, watching people who are better than you. But my aim with this flight campaign, this flight training campaign, is to have you go through the motions of all the different things that you'll have to do, not necessarily make you an expert by the time you're done with it. That's something that just requires time, and that's not something that any single campaign is going to be able to provide you with. So you gotta do it. Alright, so we'll bring this down here. Now, I don't remember if I have to... I think that you're supposed to select these guys somehow. But I don't remember. But it doesn't matter. We're just going to go ahead and fire off our AMRAAMs here. It should cycle through them as we fire. Start slowing down and switch over to sidewinders. I don't remember, it looks like there's 3 or 4 of them based off what the radar's telling me. See one here. Splashes in the water, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're done. So yeah, these guys all dodged our missiles. But I think this is more of a I don't know what I'm doing kind of deal, and not necessarily a... It's certainly not a problem with the tutorial. Did I get him? Oh, we ran him into the ground at the very least. Where's our other... Are we being shot at, or... I'm being shot at. Okay. So we got a guy over here. Fortunately, the F-18 is good in a 1 circle, but I've run out of speed, so I'm going to dump the nose here, and hopefully I can not hit the water. Where's our guy? He should be somewhere behind me, but I don't know where. Oh, there he is. Guys, I don't have enough of anything to do. Oh, well, we ran him into the water. So the other guys, okay, I can kind of make them out. The problem with the VR headset that I have is that, let's see, I need to. So, yeah, I'm not good at this. My disclaimer, as I always say. And also just the fact that the VR headset is much more blurry. Oh, he's behind me. So I'm super slow. I'm going to try to swing around on this guy and just hope that I can get around and get a missile off on him. It'd be nice if I remember to turn my headset on. And I can actually see my speed and stuff. Crap. I had tone for a second there, and Okay, well, you know, my lack of skill notwithstanding, we just need to double check the flags. Everything seems to be working the way it's supposed to. Part of it is just the fact that, you know, I don't practice very much. I've really been focused on trying to get this. But as long as, oh no, okay. Nope, it needs to be unit damaged, not dead. And to be perfectly honest with you, I may adjust this to make it so that you only have to kill one. Because like I said, I'm not necessarily trying to make it to where you have to be really good to finish this. As long as we damage them, that's enough. So once you finish that, it sets the flag value. Oh, that's different. Oh, okay. Anyways, as long as once you get to the flag value that says that the mission is done, then you can return, do all the marshal stuff, and then land and finish. So yeah, that's it for this particular one. I think the only other thing I need to do is open up the air-to-air exam, and then just, you know, relocate these guys the same way we did before. I think we said EH for this, and then, you know, another 50-ish or so miles behind them for that. I mean, 30 miles is fine. And then we put their AWACS closer so that we can, A, we can see it, B, they have access to their AWACS to have something to happen there. And then, yeah, same thing for this. We just go through, frog's dead, make sure that this says that it has to be damaged, not necessarily dead. I'm sorry that it's taken me so long to do this. Doing this in VR creates a lot of input lag from my mouse, so I'm having to like be very slow and methodical and precise with this because moving my mouse, there's significant graphical delay. Oh, you know what? Well, I mean, we actually do need to kill him. The frogs, not so much. If they're damaged, they have much less of a chance of actually, you know, doing their bombing stuff. All right, so that finishes up our mission for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to click the like button to spread the video out to more people. Subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Join as a member if you like early access to videos, among other perks to help support the channel, or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with the thanks button. So again, thank you very much for watching this episode of the Quality Control series of the F-18 Hornet Flight School Campaign. Be sure to come back for our carrier block, and I'll see you then.